2026 is not arriving to rescue you. It is arriving to reveal who you truly are beneath the mask of social conditioning. This is the year you stop pretending that niceness will protect you, that hard work alone will elevate you, that being good guarantees being rewarded. The world does not operate on fairness. It operates on power dynamics, strategic positioning, and the ability to see what others refuse to acknowledge. Most people will enter this year with the same delusions that kept them weak in 2025. They will believe that authenticity wins, that honesty is always the best policy, that showing vulnerability creates connection. You are not most people. You understand that the game has rules nobody openly discusses. This year is about becoming strategically untouchable. Not through aggression, not through displays of dominance, but through calculated invisibility and tactical superiority. Machiavelli understood a fundamental truth that society desperately tries to hide from you. Power does not announce itself. It accumulates in silence while others are distracted by performance. The most dangerous players never look dangerous. They look reasonable, calm, even generous. But beneath that surface, every move is measured. Every word is chosen. Every relationship is evaluated for strategic value. This does not make you evil. It makes you awake. In 2026, you stop apologizing for understanding how the world actually functions. You stop feeling guilty for protecting yourself in a landscape where everyone is protecting themselves. They are just lying about it. The moral high ground is often occupied by people who can afford to be moral because someone else did the dirty work for them. You will not be naive anymore. Naivety is not innocence, it is neglect. Neglect of your own survival, your own advancement, your own ability to shape outcomes instead of being shaped by them. This year demands a complete transformation of how you perceive power. Power is not what they told you it was. It is not about being the loudest voice in the room or the most aggressive personality at the table. Real power is about control. Control of information, control of perception, control of access, and most importantly, control of yourself. When you master self-control, you become unpredictable to others while remaining perfectly predictable to yourself. This asymmetry is your greatest weapon. They cannot manipulate what they cannot read. They cannot exploit what they cannot anticipate. You become a closed system in an open environment, taking in everything while revealing nothing of value. This is not paranoia. This is sophistication. You observe more than you participate. You listen more than you speak. You allow people to fill the silence with their own projections, their own assumptions, their own mistakes. And you take notes. From this moment forward, your emotions serve you, not the other way around. Anger is useful when channeled into long-term strategy. Fear is valuable when it sharpens your awareness. Affection is powerful when it is given selectively and withdrawn strategically. You do not suppress emotion. You weaponize it with precision. Machiavelli never said to be emotionless. He said to never let emotion override calculation. There is a difference. You feel everything, but you act on what serves your position. When someone disrespects you, you do not react immediately. You file it away. You wait. You let them think it was forgotten. Then, when the moment is right, when they are vulnerable and you are positioned correctly, you respond in a way that reshapes the entire relationship in your favor. This is not revenge. This is correction. You are teaching people how to treat you without ever appearing to teach them anything. They simply learn through consequences they cannot trace back to you. In 2026, you stop explaining yourself to people who lack the capacity to understand strategy. Explanation is a leak. Every time you justify your actions, you give away your decision-making process. Once people understand how you think, they can predict you. Once they can predict you, they can counter you. The strategically superior person never reveals their full reasoning. They give partial truths, plausible explanations, and socially acceptable narratives while the real motive remains hidden. This is not deception for its own sake. This is operational security. You protect your thought process the same way a military protects its communication channels. Because in a world where information is power, your internal logic is your most valuable asset. Guard it. Let people think they understand you. Let them believe they have you figured out. Their confidence in their incorrect assessment is your advantage. While they think they know your next move, You are 3 moves ahead on a board they do not even realize exists. Silence becomes your most sophisticated tool this year. Not the silence of someone who has nothing to say, but the silence of someone who chooses not to say it. There is enormous power in withholding. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. When you are harder to read, people lean in closer. When you do not react to provocations, you force others to escalate until they expose themselves. Silence is not passive, it is active restraint. It is strategic patience. Most people cannot handle silence. It makes them uncomfortable. They fill it with confessions, with reveals, with information they never intended to share. You simply have to wait. You simply have to resist the urge to fill empty space with noise. This is harder than it sounds because we are socially conditioned to smooth over awkwardness, to keep conversations flowing, to make others comfortable. In 2026, you abandon that conditioning. You let silence do the work. You watch what people do when they think they need to impress you, explain themselves to you, or win you over. All of that is intelligence. All of that is leverage you did not have to ask for. They volunteered it because you simply did not speak. The version of you that survived until now was built on rules that do not apply anymore. Maybe you believe that loyalty is always return. Maybe you thought that competence alone would get you recognized. Maybe you trusted that people mean what they say. These beliefs are expensive. They cost you opportunities, relationships, and positioning. This year, you shed them completely. Loyalty is tactical, not moral. You are loyal to those who are loyal to you and useful to your goals. The moment someone becomes a liability, your loyalty adjusts. This does not make you a bad person. It makes you a person who understands that loyalty without reciprocity is just exploitation with a noble name. Competence is necessary but not sufficient. You also need visibility, narrative control, and the ability to make your competence legible to those who control resources. If you are brilliant in silence, you are invisible. Visibility is not about bragging. It is about strategic positioning so that when opportunities arise, your name is already in the room. Trust is the most dangerous vulnerability you can have. In 2026, you do not trust people. You trust patterns. You watch what people do over time, under pressure, when they think no one is watching. You give small tests and see how they respond. You create low-stakes situations that reveal character. And you never ever assume that someone's public persona matches their private motive. People are performing all the time. Your job is to see past the performance to the incentive structure underneath. What does this person gain from this action? What do they lose if they do not do it? What are they afraid of? What do they want that they are not saying out loud? These questions matter more than anything they tell you directly. Because people lie. Not always maliciously, but they lie to themselves and therefore to you. They rationalize. They justify. They rewrite their own motives into something more flattering. You do not argue with their story. You just do not believe it. You believe the behavior. You believe the pattern. And you position yourself accordingly. Machiavellian strategy is not about being cruel. It is about being clear. Clear about what the world is, not what you wish it were. Most people are stuck in wishful thinking. They want to believe that fairness exists, that justice prevails, that good things come to good people. This is a comforting story. It is also a losing strategy. The world rewards those who understand its mechanics, not those who wish it operated differently. You can be kind, you can be generous, you can be helpful, but you do it from a position of strength, not weakness. You do it when it serves a larger strategy, not out of reflexive obligation. When you help someone, you know exactly what you are buying: access, loyalty, reputation, future reciprocity. If you cannot identify the return, you do not make the investment. This sounds cold until you realize that everyone else is already doing this. They are just pretending they are not. You are simply being honest with yourself about how transactions actually work. In 2026, you become a student of human behavior at a level most people never reach. You study why people do what they do. You learn to spot insecurity, ambition, fear, and desperation in others. These are not weaknesses to mock. They are levers to understand. When you know what someone fears, you know how to calm them or agitate them depending on what you need. When you know what someone wants, you know how to dangle it or deliver it in ways that build dependency. This is not manipulation in the dirty sense. This is influence. And influence is the only currency that matters in complex social systems. Money can be taken, status can be destroyed. But influence, real influence, is the ability to shape what people think, feel, and choose without them realizing you shaped it. That is the level you are moving toward this year. Not loud, not obvious, just effective. You also become aware of your own levers. What do you fear? What do you want so badly that it makes you predictable? These are your vulnerabilities. In 2026, you close them. You diversify your dependencies. If you rely on one income source, you are controllable. If you rely on one relationship for validation, you are manipulable. If you need approval from a specific group, you are trapped. Freedom comes from optionality. The more options you have, the less any single person or situation can control you. This is why you build in silence. You create backup plans that no one knows about. You develop skills that are not tied to your public identity. You cultivate relationships in different circles so that if one collapses, you are not stranded. This is not pessimism. This is architecture. You are building a life structure that cannot be easily dismantled by external forces, because you understand that the moment someone realizes they have power over you, they will use it, not because they are evil, but because that is what power does. It seeks to perpetuate itself. Detachment becomes your psychological foundation this year. Not detachment in the sense of not caring, but detachment in the sense of not needing. When you need something, you are weak. When you want something but can walk away, you are strong. This shift changes every negotiation, every relationship, every decision. People sense need, they smell desperation, and they adjust their behavior accordingly. When you are detached, you negotiate better because you are willing to lose the deal. You build better relationships because you are not clinging. You make better decisions because you are not clouded by fear of loss. Detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. You see things as they are because you are not distorted by desperation. This makes you dangerous in the best possible way. Dangerous to those who rely on your need to control you. Dangerous to systems that depend on your fear to function. You are no longer playing their game. You are playing yours. Part of this transformation is understanding the performance layer of life. Everyone is performing. Your job is to control your performance while seeing through theirs. You craft a public persona that is useful. Maybe it is agreeable and non-threatening, so people underestimate you. Maybe it is competent and reliable, so people depend on you. Maybe it is slightly aloof, so people work harder to gain your approval. The key is that your persona is a choice, not an accident. You decide what people see. You manage impressions deliberately. This is not fake. This is sophisticated. Every successful person does this. They just do not talk about it because talking about it breaks the illusion. You maintain the illusion in public and drop it only in private, only with yourself, and maybe with a very small circle of people who are playing the same game at the same level. Everyone else gets the version of you that serves your goals. They do not get the real you. The real you is protected. The real you is strategic. The real you is several steps ahead, watching, calculating, adjusting. Reputation is everything, but reputation is not truth. It is perception management. In 2026, you take control of your narrative. You do not let other people define you. You do not wait for recognition. You engineer it. This does not mean lying. It means framing. You highlight what serves you. You downplay what does not. You tell stories about yourself that create the associations you want. You align yourself with people and ideas that elevate your positioning. You distance yourself from anything that drags you down, even if that means cutting ties that used to matter. This is not cruelty. This is curation. You are curating your image the same way a museum curates a collection. Everything on display serves a purpose. Everything else is in storage or discarded. People will judge you for this. Let them. Their judgment is based on rules you no longer follow. You are operating in a different framework now, a framework where outcomes matter more than optics, where strategic advantage matters more than being liked. You also learn to use time as a weapon. Most people react immediately. You do not. You delay. You let situations develop. You watch how things unfold before committing. This gives you information that others do not have. By the time you move, you are moving with more data, more clarity, more leverage. Patience is not weakness. It is tactical superiority. The person who moves first often reveals too much. The person who moves last moves with full knowledge of the board. In negotiations, you let the other side talk first. In conflicts, you let the other side escalate first. In opportunities, you let others commit first. Then you decide. Then you act. And your action is informed by everything they already showed you. This asymmetry wins. It wins quietly, without drama, without anyone realizing they were outplayed. They just know that somehow you ended up in a better position. And they cannot quite figure out how. Strategic relationships are built differently than emotional ones. You do not bond over shared trauma or shared interests. You bond over mutual benefit. You identify people who have resources, access, or skills you need. You figure out what they need. Then you create exchanges that benefit both sides, but position you slightly better over time. This is not using people. This is how all professional relationships work. The difference is you are conscious of it. You are intentional. You do not drift into relationships. You build them. You maintain them. And when they stop serving both parties, you exit gracefully without burning bridges. Because you never know when you might need that bridge again. Exits are as important as entrances. How you leave shapes what people say about you when you are not there. And what people say about you when you are not there shapes your reputation more than anything you say about yourself. In 2026, you become comfortable with being misunderstood. Most people will not understand why you move the way you move. They will project their own fears and limitations onto you. They will call you cold when you are just boundaried. They will call you calculating when you are just conscious. They will call you distant when you are just selective. Let them. Their misunderstanding protects you. If they truly understood your strategy, they could counter it. Your willingness to be misunderstood is a defense mechanism. It keeps your real motives hidden. It keeps your real capabilities underestimated. And it keeps you free to operate without constant explanation or justification. You do not need everyone to get it. You just need the right people to get it. And the right people are the ones playing at your level or higher. Everyone else is background noise. You also stop seeking fairness and start seeking advantage. Fair is a concept for children and philosophers. The real world runs on leverage. Who has it, who does not, and how it shifts. Your job is to accumulate leverage in every situation. Leverage is anything that gives you options and takes options away from others. Information they do not have. Skills they cannot replicate. Relationships they cannot access. Resources they need but you control. You build leverage slowly, quietly, without announcing it. And when the moment comes, when you need to influence an outcome, you deploy it. Not with threats, not with drama. Just with a calm reminder of reality. And reality, when you have leverage, bends in your direction. This is not bullying, this is positioning. You positioned yourself so well in advance that by the time the critical moment arrives, the outcome is already determined. You just have to let it unfold. Emotional intelligence in the Machiavellian sense is not about empathy. It is about reading people accurately and using that reading strategically. You learn to identify what people value, what they fear, what they are insecure about. You notice the gap between what they say and what they do. You track who they defer to, who they avoid, who they try to impress. All of this is data. All of this tells you how to interact with them for maximum effect. When you need compliance, you frame your request in terms of their values. When you need distance, you subtly violate their expectations until they create the distance themselves. When you need alliance, you make them feel seen and valued in ways others do not. This is not fake. This is fluency. You are fluent in human motivation, and that fluency allows you to navigate social complexity with precision. In 2026, you also protect your energy like it is your most finite resource, because it is. You stop spending energy on arguments you cannot win, people you cannot change, and situations you cannot control. Every time you engage with something that drains you without return, you are making a bad investment. You become ruthlessly selective about where your attention goes. If it does not build power, capability, or positioning, it does not get your time. This means you will disappoint people. You will be called selfish. You will be accused of not caring. and you will let those accusations stand without defense. Because defending yourself to people who do not matter is another energy leak. You conserve energy for the things and people that actually move your position forward. Everything else is noise. You develop an internal counsel, a way of thinking through decisions that removes emotion and bias. Before you act, you ask yourself a series of questions. What is my actual goal here? What are the possible outcomes? What does each outcome cost me or gain me? Who benefits if I do this? Who benefits if I do not? What am I assuming that might be wrong? What information am I missing? This internal audit prevents impulsive mistakes. It slows you down just enough to see traps before you step in them. Most people operate on autopilot, reacting based on conditioning and emotion. You operate on manual, making each decision consciously. This is exhausting at first, but over time it becomes automatic. Your strategic thinking becomes your default mode. And that is when you become truly dangerous, because you are not thinking strategically only in high-stakes moments. You are thinking strategically all the time. Every interaction is an opportunity to gather information, build rapport, or position yourself. Nothing is wasted. You also learn when to break your own rules. Rigidity is a weakness. The Machiavellian mind is flexible. You have principles, but you hold them lightly. When the situation demands it, you adapt. You do what works, not what is consistent with your self-image. This is where most people fail. They become attached to being a certain kind of person. Honest, loyal, fair, whatever. And that attachment makes them predictable. You are not attached. You are pragmatic. If honesty serves you, you are honest. If misdirection serves you, you misdirect. If loyalty serves you, you are loyal. If distance serves you, you create distance. The situation dictates the response, not your ego, not your identity. Just cold assessment of what this specific moment requires. This does not make you a chameleon. It makes you effective. And effectiveness is the only measure that matters when you are trying to survive and advance in complex systems. Another shift happens in how you handle conflict. You stop trying to win arguments and start trying to win positions. Arguing is for people who care about being right. You care about outcomes. So when conflict arises, you do not engage emotionally. You assess whether this conflict matters. If it does not, you concede immediately and move on. If it does matter, you do not argue. You maneuver. You find indirect routes to your goal. You let time pass. You build alliances. You gather information. You wait for the other person to make a mistake. And they will, because people who are emotionally invested in conflict make mistakes. You do not. You stay calm. You stay patient. And you let the situation resolve in your favor without ever raising your voice. This is power. Not the power to dominate a conversation, but the power to shape outcomes without anyone realizing you shaped them. You also become aware of the stories you tell yourself. Everyone has narratives that justify their position, their choices, their failures. In 2026, you audit those stories ruthlessly. Are you telling yourself you are unlucky, or are you avoiding responsibility? Are you telling yourself people are against you, or are you just not strategic enough? Are you telling yourself you are principled, or are you just afraid to do what works? These internal narratives shape your behavior. If the narrative is disempowering, you rewrite it. Not with delusion, but with a more accurate, more strategic frame. You are not a victim, you are a player. You are not stuck. You are positioning, you are not behind, you are patient. The story you tell yourself becomes the reality you create. So you choose stories that give you agency, that frame setbacks as data, that turn obstacles into puzzles to solve rather than walls to stop you. As this year unfolds, you will notice something interesting. The less you need from people, the more they offer. The less you react, the more they respect you. The less you explain, the more they assume you know something they do not. This is the paradox of power. It grows in inverse proportion to your need for it. When you desperately want power, you repel it. When you are indifferent to it, it flows toward you. So you cultivate indifference, not apathy, but detachment. You care about your goals, but you do not care about any single path to them. You are flexible. You are patient. You are willing to lose battles to win wars. And this willingness makes you unbreakable, because there is no single point of failure, no single relationship you cannot lose, no single opportunity you cannot walk away from. You are anti-fragile. Pressure makes you stronger. Setbacks give you information. Losses teach you what not to do next time. By the end of 2026, you will not be the same person. You will be quieter but more influential. You will have fewer relationships but deeper leverage. You will be less visible but more powerful. And most importantly, you will be free. Free from the need to be liked. Free from the fear of being misunderstood. Free from the illusion that the world is fair. You will see reality clearly. And in that clarity, you will find your edge. Because while everyone else is pretending, performing, and hoping, you will be calculating, positioning, and executing. You will not announce your transformation. You will not explain your strategy. You will simply move differently. And over time, people will notice that somehow things tend to work out in your favor. They will not know why. They will not understand how. And you will never tell them. Because the best strategies are the ones that remain invisible, even as they reshape everything around you. This is not a year of loud transformation. This is a year of silent restructuring. You are rebuilding yourself from the inside out according to principles that actually govern success, not the ones you were told to believe. You are becoming someone who understands power, who respects strategy, who operates with precision. You are becoming Machiavellian in the truest sense. Not evil, not cruel, but awake. Awake to how things actually work. And once you are awake, you can never go back to sleep, nor would you want to. Because this clarity, this strategic consciousness, this is freedom, this is power. This is how you make 2026 yours. Not by hoping, not by wishing, but by understanding, positioning, and executing with cold, patient, relentless precision. Welcome to the game. Now play it better than everyone else.